Howdy, it's tubalcain again, and welcome back to my What Makes It Work series, and here's yet another installment thereof. And in this video I wanted to talk about different kinds of water valves and really differentiate between the common and more cheaper globe valves as opposed to the gate valve. Now there are many other kinds of valves as well, but these are the ones that you're going to see in the store, and you have to make a selection usually on which you're going to grab, and these by far are probably the most popular and cheapest. But let me just show you the difference between a gate and a globe valve and what is the advantages of each. I think the name of a globe valve is derived from the fact that it's a bit globular, if there's such a word, right here. Now not all of them are that way, but I remember them being that way when I was a kid, when I would look up into the ceiling in the basement. And they would look like this, and here's a little bit of that, but not so much on some of the other ones here. But that's the derivation of the word, or the term, I guess. Now I've made a couple cutaways also so that I can illustrate what the insides of these look like. I have a fascination with cutaways, in case you haven't guessed that or noticed it from my other videos, but I've cut this globe valve away just to show you that there's always an in and an out, but sometimes they're not marked, or maybe this one was marked. I don't remember where I cut it off, but a lot of times you're going to see an arrow like that. But if you don't see the arrow and you look this way into it, you're going to see that there's a difference from one end to the other. And this is where the water should go in and follows this path. And when you tighten it, and in this case it's a brass seat and down there, no rubber involved, but you can see that as the water is in there, and if you got this thing turned off for 10 years, there is no water that can leak out of the stem or right here or any other place for that matter, because it's shut off here at the source. Now if you run your water in from this way and you do it backwards, you can see that even though the water is turned off here, there may be some leakage here. Probably not unless the valve is bad, but you never know, and sometimes you got to tighten up the packing, and I'll talk about the packing in a little while here. But can you see how this is made? Also, can you see how restrictive this is to the water? So even though it's a rather large pipe going in here, the actual passage for the water is minimal. All of the water has to pass right through here, which is far smaller than here. So that's the disadvantage of a globe valve. But it's pretty neat to see how intricate the valve is, and that of course they use several cores in order to make this. So it'd be interesting to see the foundry patterns and the core box as they manufacture these. And this is all brass, except for the handle, which I think is zinc. No plastic. I believe this to be a very old and well-made valve, but in a more modern globe valve like this, and notice the direction of the flow here, you'll see that there is a replaceable washer. And once the washer becomes worn and leaks a little bit, of course you can easily take this apart and replace the washer, but who wants to do that? And you probably never would in this, and you would have to reseat this valve or replace it, because there is no replaceable parts. But most of them are going to have a washer like this. And here too, you can see that the water comes in from this direction and follows passes through a relatively small hole compared to this. When you buy a valve, you can get them with or without this drain valve. And notice how this works in this particular one, and there's some variations, but we do have a hole right here. Past that little, no, that doesn't fit. I have to get a smaller drill here. Should have had that already. This allows you to drain the pipe that's coming out of here, and I'll show you an example here in a minute, in case you want to drain it for the winter and you don't want something to freeze up. That's the purpose of that. And that must always go on the outside, not the pressure side. And the purpose of that is if you have a sill cock, this goes through the wall of the house, of course, you all know what that is, and you want to drain this for the winter so this doesn't freeze and crack up, and there's always that possibility. This allows you to, after you turn the valve off in November, drain the water out of there, and then there's no water in here, but of course you could also drain it here, but then you have to go outside to do that, and most people are not going to do that. So that's the purpose of that, and that may be used in other applications as well, but that's the purpose of that little hole. And you want to make sure that you don't do it like this, because then you are negating that. I didn't have a gate valve in stock, so I bought this at a flea market for $3, but you know, a valve like that's probably $10 or more, brass. And this is a Genova product, and I'm going to throw these plastic adapters away, but it allows you to use a brass valve in your plastic line if you don't like those plastic valves, and I don't. But take a look at this video here, cutting a double thread on the lathe, and that's in 2 parts, but I show several examples and cutaways of a gate valve in that as well. But in a gate valve, you're going to see that there is in fact a gate. Now notice how many twists this takes to turn down. So some of them are made with a double start thread, and that's what that other video that I just told you about is all about. But what's interesting here is that you've got full flow with a gate valve. So see how large that hole is here, and you can see that the water can pass through in large volumes with no restriction, and gate valves are almost always used on your water supply coming into the house, or they should be used. If you don't have one on there, somebody goofed up. But right next to the water meter, it allows you to close the valve, turn off all the water, and then when you open it, you've got full flow. So let me cut this away and we'll take a look at what it looks like on the inside. Before I cut this open, I thought I'd show you this, taking it apart, and this is the gate. And notice that it's tapered, and that allows it to seat very well and not leak. And they're precision made. Notice the screw down there, and some of them, that's a double start thread, so it doesn't take you all day to open or close it. That's a nice valve. Now I'll cut it. I'm back, and through the magic of television, I am back instantly, even though this took me about 15 minutes to cut away. And sometimes I cut by sawing, other times I mill, and I arbitrarily elected to mill on this one. And again, I look here at the full flow you're getting with the gate valve. And now you can clearly see the gate and watch it seat. Now there'll be guys, plumbers watching this probably, who know a lot more about valves than I, and even men that work in valve factories or design valves, but they can correct me if necessary. But that is the principle, again, of a gate valve. And since it's tapered, that probably even allows them a little bit of tolerance when they manufacture these, so that it's going to fit, even if they're just a little out of spec. But they would have tolerances. Pretty neat though, don't you agree? When this valve is closed, such as it is now, you can see that the water would have no access to get up into here and leak out of the stem up here. But when it's in the open position or partially open position, water can get up into here and conceivably leak. Also, this shows you the need with the gate valve. When you open it all the way. You don't just open it part of the way. So remember that on your water main when you turn that on and off. You don't just, because you will get water flow right here, you just won't have the volume. Now, since I got to throw this away here in 15 minutes, I'm going to open this up and show you the packing and how to change that should you need to. If the water ever leaks out of here on an older valve, you can do one of two things. One is to just tighten this hex nut right here, and that will force the packing down in. Now, packing is just a graphite thread like this, or rope. It comes in different sizes and available in every plumbing department. Just make sure that you talk to a 60-year-old man in the plumbing department when you want to talk about this stuff. Not that teenage girl with the tattoo. Sorry, girls. You know, a lot of women watch these videos, so I hope I don't step on their toes. Because there are some pretty, well, all of them are smart, except the young ones, because they just don't have the experience. And they want to text while they're waiting on you. I need to correct myself here. Remember a little while ago when I talked about cutting a double thread. This, in fact, is a double thread or a two-start thread. I thought that it wasn't, but so there is a more rapid action here than what I first noticed. Also notice that this is a left-hand thread. And something else just a little different here on this one is that I took off the packing nut here, and the packing in there is not the string type. It is a solid washer of some kind that is the packing, but the tighter that you tighten this, that's not the way of saying it, but the more you tighten it, the more it's going to expand the packing and prevent leakage here around the stem. And sometimes you'll see faucets leaking up here. Very slow leak, just a couple drops, but it's annoying and can cause corrosion. But that's a pretty nice thread there, isn't it? And then the female thread here is in the gate. Alright, I guess that's quite enough on gate valve and globe valve. Let me show you just a few other variations here too before I quit. Or before you quit on me. I'm sorry, not a big fan of plastic valves. Maybe they're perfectly good. I just haven't used them and I still have the old school prejudice that brass is better, but I may well be wrong. So that's just out of my junk drawer. Also notice that gas shutoff valves are constructed quite a bit different. Remember, you only got about 2 or 3 pounds of pressure in a gas valve. That also is tapered to help it seat and can be tightened slightly down here. Matter of fact, those nuts are loose. And a very common one made out of plastic or brass now are the ball valves. And it's nothing more than a ball that is turned 90 degrees. Now be careful if you're interested in full flow. You can buy the cheaper ones and they're going to use a small valve and they do not give you full flow. For a little more money, and I believe they cost more, it's going to be the same thread size here, but the ball will be larger in diameter, and when you open it, you're going to have a full flow of the diameter of pipe that you're concerned with. So you're going to see a lot of these, and some of them are solenoid operated as well. Well, I hope I haven't talked too much about valves. I hope you like my little cutaways, and this is tubalcain saying so long for now. Leave comments and I'll see you in my next video.